I do want to see. So it's out. The reviews are out for the Steam machine. It's expensive, but you want to know something? There is still one thing and one thing alone. All the segues? No, we don't want the segues. People are still going to buy the Steam box machine. I generally think people are actually still going to buy this thing. That's just my personal guess. The only reason why is because there are those people who are poor who want to be rich or fake being rich. And then you also have those people who just spend oodles and oodles and oodles amount of money or so on streamers. So I'd rather buy a Steam machine over a Switch 2. Like I said, you know, there are people who will be willing to buy it at the end of the day. There are people. So what's the
Valve's
stats?
Steam machine is probably the
I don't know
most
anything about the stats or
anticipated gaming
anything.
PC of all time. I would argue, alongside the Steam Deck, one of the most important. But that doesn't mean that our last 2 weeks with it have been all good. There are the highlights, like the unbelievably polished experience of SteamOS, not to mention perfect integration with your home media setup. But there's also been the lower lights, performance in the latest titles being a big one, alongside some hard truths. It costs more than we hoped, and Valve confirmed they feel the same way. But if you can stomach the upfront investment, Valve's GameCube is yet another massive step on their now decade-plus journey of saving gamers.
Like playing in 4K is not something that a lot of people are going to do. They're probably going to play it at like 1440p. I think that's like the sweet spot for gaming now, is playing on a 1440p monitor. So I think that's what people are going to probably play it on. Probably. I'm not too sure. Like I said, I don't really know, right? So I haven't really played on cons or anything like that. But the only thing that's like super convenient or so is it's like plug and play kind of type of thing. And then on top of that, you know, you don't really have like people who are like don't want to build this because they're kind of nervous and scared of building like an actual computer. They can just buy this in general. Like the only caveat I can say, at least like the investment is better than a console because you don't have to pay online for it, you know? That's like the thing. The small form is also a plus. Yeah, it's so small, it's so compact. Like it's a plus as well. You don't have to pay online for your games to play online with people. That's also a plus too as well, because you have to do that with consoles. You have to pay online in order for you to play multiplayer or play with your friends and like some other game in general, which is I find it pretty stupid in my personal opinion, but that's just personally me anyways. But that's kind of like basically like what I can think of, you know. Like there are some positives with this thing. Yeah, the price is a bit of like, oh, you know, it's a bit of a yikertons. I don't know if you can buy the 500 gigabyte version and upgrade the SSD in it. I'm not too sure on that. Like I haven't really looked into it. Maybe they'll probably explain it here. Like you could probably just buy the 500 gig one, and then if it's possible to upgrade it, you can just upgrade the SSD to like a 2 terabyte or something like that, maybe. So
from the closed ecosystems that
NVMe.
demand pricey subscriptions. And it is hands down the best solution that I've ever seen to solving the inconvenience of PC gaming on the couch. It's not the biggest or the baddest, but that 1-2 punch is why the Steam machine is so damn exciting. It combines the strengths of PC gaming with the conveniences of console gaming, and all in a nearly silent cube that's about half the size of a real console. But with this kind of hype, can Valve possibly hope to live up to gamers' expectations? If we're being realistic, probably not. But I still love the Steam machine for what it is today, and I'm really excited about what it means for the future of gaming. And I'm also excited. Okay, but actually this time...
It just does kind of suck that like the AI kind of like ruin, you know, the Western side of AI kind of like ruin everything because they like to gobble up everything to try to make a bigger data center, you know?
To tell you about this companion product from our sponsor, Dbrand. Their robots...
Oh my god, wow, that's great. Anyways.
Back to the Steam machine, though.
I need this for B-roll. We're on a tight schedule, baby.
Okay, that makes sense. We unboxed and explored the setup of the Steam machine over on Short Circuit this morning, and we gave our in-depth thoughts on the controller last month. So we're going to be laser focused on the experience of the Steam machine itself. right out of the gate. If you're a Steam Deck or a big picture user, you're going to feel right at home. The Steam Machine comes with SteamOS pre-installed, Valve's Linux-based operating system that they've spent over 10 years optimizing for gaming. Why did it take so long? Well, because most games still don't support Linux natively. But thanks to Proton, a translation layer that allows Windows games to run on Linux, we found that almost any game made for Windows runs surprisingly well on SteamOS. No command line, no driver conflicts, just press the button and play your game. It's been one of the Steam Deck's greatest strengths, and that remains true here. And even if somehow you don't like SteamOS, well, great news. Valve takes a very open approach to their hardware. Or should I say, your hardware, you know? The way it should be. So the Steam Machine allows you to install any OS you want, even Windows. It's just that if you did so, you would lose out on some of its best features, like a personal favorite of mine, the ability to suspend your software and resume at the push of a button, just like a console. Seriously, thank you, Valve. Okay, we did find that
But technically, you can put a computer to sleep mode, technically. So I assume there's probably some way or so that you can hook up your controller to your computer to do the same thing. I'm not too sure. I'm not a tech wizard, okay? I'm just hypothetically, maybe you could, you know? You probably can, perhaps.
Or sometimes that resuming a game would take a little longer than we'd like. But most of the time it was really quick. I'm talking like 5 seconds, which is a huge edge over booting up your PC, loading your launcher, and starting a game. We did notice that
I'll be honest with you, my PC doesn't take that long to load into my, well, I'm only having issues just recently because of the SSD that I bought or so. It's giving me blue screen or so from time to time. Not all the time, it's from time to time because I know because when I disconnect the SSD, I have no problems. But when I connect the SSD, I'm having problems. But anyways, besides that my computer doesn't take that long or so to load in because I have the OS window on a separate drive, and then all of my games and everything are all on other specific drives. Like my live service games are on one specific drive, my video stuff is on one specific drive, and then like games like single player stuff that I like to play from time that I play on streamer, so is on one drive, and then all the video editing stuff is on one of those specific drives that I have. Like the only thing I want to personally upgrade or so is like the external storage. That's about it. I think like the external storage it's about time to kind of go up for a different one.
sometimes the SteamOS UI would become laggy while a game is suspended, but realistically, we're dealing with pre-release software here, and with how much Valve has refined SteamOS on the deck over the last few years, which is much less powerful hardware, I can say confidently that they're going to get that sorted. The other big one for me is HDMI CEC. It doesn't have the best marketing behind it, and it doesn't have a sexy name. In fact, most people don't even really think about CEC, because when it's working properly, you literally aren't supposed to even notice it. But it is hugely important to the living room experience, especially if you have multiple devices. CEC, if you're not familiar, is a protocol that's built into the HDMI standard that allows your various media devices to communicate with and even control each other without running any additional cables. The most common uses for it are allowing your soundbar volume to be controlled by your TV remote, or having your Android media box and AV receiver power each other on and off in sync. Now, most PCs straight up do not support it. This is both a hardware and a software problem, and there's no hint of a solution on the horizon. So achieving any kind of seamless operation involves like janky IR receiver boxes and or complicated home theater automations. Well, Valve hated that, so they built their own software and custom motherboard for the Steam Machine that, from our experience, just plain works. You press the Steam controller button, it turns on everything, selects the right inputs, and bingo.
I think that's pretty cool for like people who have that kind of setup for consoles. I think, you know, I can definitely see something being pretty cool for them.
Bango bongo, seconds later you are gaming exactly where you left off. But there's more to a good gaming machine than just living room integration, as Microsoft so painfully learned.
Go to Internet Explorer. Oh, nice.
And the Steam Machine's raw gaming chutzpah leaves a fair bit to be desired, unfortunately. To be clear, it's not terrible. Valve chose a semi-custom 6-core Zen 4 CPU with 16 gigs of DDR5 memory rated to 5600 megatransfers per second, alongside a semi-custom GPU with 8 gigs of dedicated VRAM. So That's more CPU performance and
I
a
know
lot.
for a fact because like I've seen videos or so. Well, not really seen videos, but kind of like heard and seen. Well, yeah, I have seen some or so when it comes to like people tinkering with tech and everything. Do you think people are going to start like messing with the Steam machine, as in like trying ways to upgrade it, as in like, oh, you can solder this or you can do that, or is it like literally unupgradable? You know, I'd be curious to see what people are going to try to do for like tinkering with the Steam machine itself to try to get like, I don't know, maybe more performance or squeeze out more performance or like better optimization or whatever other shindig thing, you know?
Lot more
That's what
RAM
I'm
than the
curious
current crop
about.
of mainstream gaming consoles, but the current crop of gaming consoles is 6 years old now. And if we look closely at the specs for these chips, they look more semi than custom, with a strong resemblance to laptop chips from 2023. Now, according to Valve, that's not a problem for most buyers. The Steam machine should outperform approximately 70% of the gaming PCs that are out there in the
Okay,
wild.
buddy.
And if the Steam Deck is anything to go by, developers will squeeze blood from a stone, optimizing for
kids will find a
popular
way.
hardware
Yeah.
config like this one. But
I give 'em props,
with
to be
all of
honest.
that said,
I can't do
I
anything
still
like
feel pretty strongly that these are not the kinds of parts that I would expect in a 4K gaming machine, even with the asterisk of FSR upscaling. But I could be wrong, right? So let's take a look at the numbers. Right out of the gate, the Linux port of Shadow of the Tomb Raider absolutely crushed Valve's target, hitting over 120 FPS at 4K.
Yeah, but the Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a very well optimized game, if I remember correctly.
Not bad, but that is an 8-year-old game, and sadly, the rest of our suite ended up sitting with average frame rates between 40 to 50 FPS. In fairness to Valve, some of these games were probably running at settings that are a little ambitious for the humble Steam machine, and you could absolutely turn Cyberpunk, for instance, down a little bit and get a more fluid experience, but that wasn't the case for all of them. Doom: The Dark Ages, for instance, was already cranked nearly as low as it could go.
Yeah, but Doom: The Dark Ages is a very like wasn't really well optimized game. Like for me specifically, you know, there were some problems I had with it, of course. But then like at the very end of the level or so, it completely crashed and I couldn't continue playing the game anymore. Like I could not finish the game. So we had to like literally watch the episode on YouTube for the final level because I couldn't play the game. So I like Doom well, if I remember correctly, I think people were talking about Doom: The Dark Ages was just not really well optimized game to begin with when it came out. If I remember correctly. So I don't know. You know.
The whole situation feels like a completely self-inflicted wound. Like if Valve had never said 4K gaming at 60 FPS, and had they instead offered a more nuanced, 1080p on medium details, maybe high or ultra for older titles, and in some cases, you know what, 4K upscaling looks pretty darn good. I wouldn't even have to be talking about this. But now I have to go spelunking for what the heck Valve was talking about. And it seems like for newer titles, what they meant was low settings with FSR set as low as ultra performance, which means we are upscaling from a mere 720p base resolution all the way to 4K Ultra HD. At these settings, all right, sure, all 5 of our games did hit averages that are comfortably above 60 FPS, but at these settings, all 5 of our games also looked pretty ugly. And there's more bad news. Even with 28 ray tracing cores, RT is pretty much a non-starter on this thing. This is true both for games where it's an option, like Cyberpunk, where we saw an average of 15 FPS at 1080p Ultra, and especially true for games that force its usage, like Indiana Jones or Doom: The Dark Ages, where only one configuration we tested managed to consistently stay above 60 FPS. And that was the handheld one, right?
Yep.
Yikes. To be clear, it's not the end of the world today, but whether you love ray tracing or hate it, there will be more titles in the future that will require hardware support for it, and the Steam machine just plain doesn't have the horses. Once again, I'd love to be proven wrong here. Valve did contact us hours before recording this to say they are aiming to patch it, but guys, it's a 7600M GPU. There is no path that I can trace that will lead to acceptable performance on this hardware, especially in light of your unqualified claims of 4K 60 FPS, which still wouldn't be a huge problem if it wasn't for the big
I'd be curious to see if like the average person or so cares about ray tracing that much. I'm like I don't know. I'm super curious what the YouTube audiences have to say. You know, when it comes to the Steam machine itself. Like, does it appeal to them? Or people who are on console? Does it appeal to you? Do you like it? Like, you know, like I'm like super curious what like the people in my community have to say about this.
white elephant in the room, the PlayStation 5. On paper, the Steam machine and the PS5 trade blows. But in real life, I'm sorry, Valve, but it just doesn't quite seem to work out that way.
But
now,
isn't it
I do have a
expensive for the
disclaimer here.
PS5?
The PS5 doesn't support any kind of frame time analysis,
also the
so
Pro
any
version
numbers we give
too?
you guys are going to be kind of rough and
Isn't like the Pro version like almost the same pricing as the Steam machine? Like if I remember correctly? Because like they raised the price like 2 times or something like that.
ad hoc. We explain the methodology, by the way, of both this test and the rest in our accompanying labs article. We'll have that link down below. But anyway, in God of War Ragnarok, the base PS5, which upscales
Like
from
for me personally, like yeah, I have a pretty strong computer and everything like that, but I only put ray tracing for like a short bit just to see how it looks like, and then I just kind of like turn it off afterwards because I just don't personally care, you know. Like for me specifically, when it comes to ray tracing and overall, I don't know. I'm just not a big like ray tracing advocate person.
1440p to 4K,
Hey, Jack.
was chilling around 75 to 78 FPS. Meanwhile, in the same scene, the Steam machine, with mostly medium settings
If I had to
and
spare
FSR
FPS,
set
I
to
will.
quality, landed
Wait,
in
what do
the
you mean spare FPS? As in like turn it on or something? Turn on ray tracing?
60 to 63 range. This
For me, no,
isn't the end of the
because
world.
I'm, like,
we
you
actually
know,
found that
recording
upscaling
or,
was
you
hampering
know,
our performance
streaming,
more than we
so-
expected. And at 1440p native, we were able to break 70 FPS, even with our details turned up. But what it isn't is a win. With that said, choosing the right games and enabling variable refresh rate is going to help to mitigate some choppiness, and you can absolutely have a really solid gaming experience on this box. Also, as these things go out in the wild, I do expect Valve's Verified for Steam Machine program to incentivize developers to optimize for this
For me,
hardware specifically. It's just
I
that
rarely
you got to
put it
keep
on,
your
to be
expectations
honest.
in check. It's not magically going to get way faster. Coming back to good news though, the Steam machine's download speeds are solid. We saw close to full gigabit speeds over a wire, and a little less than half of that via Wi-Fi 6E. That's partially probably thanks to Valve's 4 dedicated antennas in this box, 2 for Wi-Fi, 1 for Bluetooth, and 1 for Steam controllers. And we also saw an average power draw of just 175 watts under heavy load, with a mere 66 watts for lighter games. That contributes to a cool, quiet experience with the Steam machine, landing right in line with the PS5 for acoustics, and averaging just 68 and 66 degrees across our CPU and GPU respectively. Good job, Valve. And good job making this such a repairable and serviceable machine. Not only can the Steam machine be easily opened up, including the ability to upgrade both the RAM and SSD, but Valve has one.
Oh, so you can upgrade the RAM and the SSD for this. So then, okay, so for those people who wanted to buy it, or so you can buy the 500 gigabyte one and then upgrade the RAM and the SSD later down the line. You know, okay, I can kind of see that being a little beneficial for those people who don't want like a full computer thing. Okay, so that's a positive at least, you know.
Once again partnered with iFixit to make guides and replacement parts available. Absolutely amazing. Maybe consider an LTT precision screwdriver if you ever need to make any upgrades or repairs. It's got all the bits you need and a convenient magnetic parts tray that's included in the lid, lttstore.com. Another highlight is Valve's open approach to peripherals. I mean, can you imagine Nintendo just allowing any old thing to be plugged into their precious gaming machine? Meanwhile, in Valve land, the Steam machine played nicely with every mouse, keyboard, or headset that we plugged into it, including random Bluetooth accessories. One thing of note is that some of our audio accessories were a little quieter than usual on the Steam machine, even with the volume maxed, but again, this feels like one of those, don't worry, Valve's gonna fix that things. Bringing us finally to something Valve couldn't fix, the detail you've all been waiting for. You can order your Steam machine
price.
today, and it will cost $1,050 for the 5.
I ain't gonna lie, this is gonna really fuck up also the console people as well. You don't think that the console people, the new generation of consoles, isn't gonna go up in price in general? So I wouldn't be surprised if like the PlayStation 6 and whatever the new Xbox console is going to cost or so is gonna be at that, gonna be around that price point, Then after that, it's gonna be like, what's the more beneficial to go after?
12 gig storage version and $13.50 for the 2 terabyte. I think we better talk
If
about
the Steam
this.
machine sells well, then yeah, gaming is gonna be a luxury hobby. Yeah, people are going to buy it. I know for a fact that they're gonna buy it. Like, I know there are some people on like Twitter and like people that are probably thinking watching this or something like, who the fuck is gonna fucking buy this shit? I'm like, there are people who are going to buy this. I shit you not. There are going to be people who are going to fucking buy this thing. Because some people just wanna look rich, even though they're poor. For me specifically, I don't do that. I'm poor. I'm poor. Okay, but I'll save money on whatever thing I'm going to buy, though. Okay, it might take me longer, but I will save money or so for it. I'm not gonna go into debt for some stupid thing. I didn't even use my PS5, and now I'm just gonna hold on to it. Yeah, I want to get me a PS5 at least. Just because I've always had like the PlayStation or so. So if I ever want to play a PlayStation console game, might as well.
Is that
Because the last one was
reasonable?
PS4. That's
It
why.
is reasonable in this current market conditions, but it is.
You sound like you're being held hostage.
I mean, Valve was held hostage by the parts makers.
So reasonable, yes, but like, is it too high?
Yes.
And that's a tough thing.
It is way
I
too
think
high,
it's
though.
fair
It's
to
pretty
say that
expensive,
both
though.
of those things are true.
Yes.
Based on the costs that Valve is
But like, but I feel like the long term like investment on it specifically, I feel like it's just better. Just because like as in like you don't have to pay online. It's small, compact. You can upgrade the RAM and the internal storage. You can't. Well, you can do that on the PlayStation, of course, but like you can't change the RAM or so on a PlayStation Pro or a PlayStation 5. So I feel like that might be a little bit more beneficial on that. And I assume the software is going to be supported for quite a long time too. So I'm like, at the end of the day, you got to pick your poison. Do you want to buy a PS5 and pay online or so for playing online with your friends and everything? Or do you want a PC, a little small console PC where, number one, you can mod your games. You don't have to pay online for it. It's small and compact. You can still upgrade it to like a certain degree, right? You can upgrade it, right? The software is going to be definitely supported for a very, very long time in general. And also, the customer service on Steam is just better than PlayStation overall. The deals for games on Steam is better than PlayStation deals. So like what do you want? Like basically it's like, what do you personally want? It's like it's all up to you at the end of the day. How do you perceive itself? It's like basically when someone's trying to build a computer, what do you want from the computer? What do you want in a PC?
seeing, and also based on other options that are available in the market, it can be both reasonably priced
I want
and
them
still
all.
too
Okay,
high.
buddy.
I was really hoping that this was going to bring PC gaming to the mainstream living room.
I was
that I
hoping
could
that too as
pitch all my
well.
friends and be like, "Oh, get a Steam machine! It's so
Yeah.
cool." But this is a premium price, even though I wouldn't say it's a premium product.
And in fairness to Valve, they did telegraph this. They were explicit when I came down there for the reveal that it was not going to be subsidized by the 30% cut that they're going to take on games, because they have no guarantee that people are actually going to run SteamOS on this or buy any games. And the PS5 is such a giant, even bigger elephant in the room than I even said before. The fact that you can still, even at the increased price, buy a PS5 for $600 US or a PS5 Pro, which is a much more powerful machine, for $900.
And then you'd still have money left over for your first year of PS Plus.
And both of those PS5s include a controller too, so that's going to cover almost another year. With
That is the shitty thing about it, that you have to pay for the controller, but I assume you can use your own controller at the end of the day, Cause nobody cares about that. People care about the exclusives and the GTA 6 day one with the $200 edition. I'm gonna give this $200 edition to your mom in a second. No, I think for the like in actuality, the longevity or so compared to the Steam machine and the consoles themselves, I feel like the yes, will the new generation console be stronger than the Steam machine? Yes, it probably will be. But I know for a fact that the cost for those actual machines are going to be fucking expensive, dude. Those things are going. If they're charging, what is it, $900 or so for the PS5 Pro? I can just imagine the fucking PS6 or the PS6 Pro edition of that specific console, dude. That shit is gonna overpass the Steam machine by a mile, dude. The biggest downside of the Steam machine is the mobile hardware, just because of how nuked the active specs are. That is very true. Like, but yeah, but you have to take a look at like the future of what's going to be happening in the future. I'll wait for the Steam Machine Pro. I don't think there's going to be a Steam Machine Pro, to be honest.
That said, if you're keeping it for a long time, I mean, let's talk TCO. That's a term that not everybody's familiar with outside of like business or the data
TCO?
center. It's total cost of ownership. It often gets said that on the PC side, pricing of games is a huge boon compared to consoles, but you actually opened my eyes to the PlayStation Store having a lot of deals.
There was a few weeks ago where there wasn't a sale going on and people freaked out. So I think there's sort of a myth around Steam sales being way better than console, but I think we've balanced out. That being said, you can play online games for free on a Steam machine, and on a PlayStation, you're going to be spending $110 a year.
Jesus fucking Christ, 110? That's how much you pay online? Buenas noches, Dato. Jesus Christ, you pay 100? Oh my god, dude, that's insane, dude. I remember when PS Plus was so cheap and everything. What was it like? How much did it cost before? I don't remember how much it cost before. It was like a long time ago, to be honest.
Is brutal.
A lot of money. That's a game and a half.
Another big benefit, though, I mean, we touched on this, but accessory support. Nintendo's not the only one that keeps things locked down with respect to plugging things into their consoles. I mean, for years, entire brands that make gaming headsets, their only reason for existing at all was that they managed to get the license to produce compatible Xbox gaming headsets.
Shout out Turtle Beach.
They were awful audio quality. Like, had no reason for existing other than licensing.
Even controllers, we're living through a renaissance in the PC space, but to find something good for the PlayStation 5 that has back paddles for less than $200, so impossible.
Yeah, we're actually, shout out David's upcoming video. We're doing a modding video on the stock DualSense to add paddles to it.
So excited.
Gonna be pretty freaking cool. I don't even know if I care about bringing this up, but there is one thing the PS5 does that the Steam machine for now doesn't, and that's VR.
Yeah, I'm not a big VR guy.
I don't think most PlayStation gamers are right now.
No, they have like, what, 12 games?
I don't think there will ever be another PSVR.
No. I mean, the other white elephant in the room is the custom PC you build in a white case. Literally tomorrow, we have a video coming out where we build a PC for the price of the Steam machine to compare performance.
I think we're going to see better value. I think we're going to see better upgradability and serviceability. We're going to see better performance.
We're gonna have to talk about it tomorrow.
I know I shouldn't be that surprised, but the performance really was a downer for me.
I think if they hadn't made the 4K 60 promise, it would be a little less painful.
Or if they had left the door open for Steam Machine Pro. Like if I knew there was going to be something based on a 9070 coming, that would be the legitimate 4K machine, then I think we'd be having a really different conversation.
Or eGPU support, maybe some way to upgrade more than just the RAM and SSD.
Okay, we've spent a lot of time harping on the price, but what would be the right price? What's the no hesitation, I'd buy one tomorrow price?
Me, or I recommend to people?
You recommend.
$800.
I don't know if I don't know. Me personally, I don't know if I would play VR on this thing. That's my personal opinion. Like I play VR. I don't know if I would play VR on this thing. I don't know about that one, Chief.
Think
You
is
might as well
reasonable.
just
It's
build a computer
slightly
for
worse
that.
performance than a console, but it has so much more openness and features that I think balances out that value.
Yeah, I mean, we barely even touched on the fact that you can use it as a full-fledged desktop PC. Like, they have done a lot of work, not just on the big picture gaming aspect of SteamOS. I'm actually planning to, once we get the real Steam machine back from labs, throw it in my backpack and use it as my daily driver machine for a month.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Yeah. So I'll have to do everything, gaming and work on it. And it's actually portable enough that you just could. Portable.
Portal. You want to hear something that's really sad?
I do.
I asked them specifically, what was the original price point in mind for the Steam machine? And they're like, I can't give you that, but if you look at the price increase of the Steam Deck, that tells you what we were targeting for, and that's about a $200 price increase. So we would have hit our price if it wasn't.
The RAM apocalypse. Do you think it's still going to sell?
Really? So that was the actual original price area for this thing? Oh, that fucking sucks. I'm not gonna lie, to be honest. Next Xbox console might be better as PC/console. It definitely will, right? Because I know that Microsoft is working like on an OS for gaming because the Xbox ROG Ally. So I wouldn't be surprised if they use that specific OS onto their console, right? And be able to have a dual PC/console type of thing. You know, because I know with the Xbox Ally or so, you can have all the Steam stuff in there and everything like that, not just only Xbox alone. So they are kind of, they are gonna definitely try to be able to beat this Steam machine. But hearing specifically that that was going to be the original price for this actual box itself just kind of sucks in general, because it would have been so nice if it was in that price range, and then that means there would be a lot of people who'd be interested in buying this. But unfortunately, since the fucking Western society wants to make their big fucking data centers, and China, like I said, I don't hate AI, right? But like I'm saying, like China has found a way to have their specific AI to be very minuscule and work efficiently compared to the Western side. The Western side wants to make it big and powerful and suck up everything. That's the problem. The Western side of AI is more what's the word, litigious? I don't know if I'm using the word correctly or something like that, but it's more like, what is it, it's more ravenous compared to China's AI, like the way how they have their shit. So expect the price to be 5 times worse in the future. The Xbox CEO has warned us. That is very true. That's what I'm saying. So specifically, I feel like the price of where it is now is pretty okay-ish. Okay? But then once the new consoles come out, then this one is going to... It's like the same thing what happened with the Nintendo Switch 2 when they raised their prices. And then the PS5 and the Xbox fucking doubled their shit, specifically almost to 1,000. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'm like, not gonna lie, as much as I personally don't like the Nintendo Switch 2, the price of it is just fucking better at the end of the day, sadly. But they didn't deserve that specific spot specifically because they're the ones who raised their prices for that fucking console,
Anyway,
It'll sell a certain amount to the Valve diehards. I think that there's enough people out there that are like, I believe in this, I want to support this. I don't think it's going to cross into the mainstream, even to the level of the Steam Deck. I think the Steam Deck's greatest strength was that it was a really slick console-like experience for a really aggressive price. And this is not an aggressive price. This is a enthusiast price.
I hate the words you're saying, but I think I accept them. For now, if RAM pricing were to normalize, I suspect mostly good guy Valve would make adjustments to the pricing. I can just also understand their perspective that they can't just operate this thing at a loss.
The Western side AI wants more data centers in a small region than they want absolutely anything else, all while crushing the electrical grid for the region. Yeah, that's why when you look at China's like AI compared to the Western's AI, China just outbeats the Western AI by like a large margin. Because remember, right? China's AI is limited on their hardware because they have restrictions on them. So they had to do what they had, what makes do, So they decided to work on efficiency and with a weaker power compared to the Western side. I'm like, overall, theirs is better than Western. So sorry, I gotta give it to the Chinese. They just outsmarted, the Western side. Yeah, but the Switch 2 didn't have any new games for it. That's the only reason why people will buy the Steam machine, because they will have more games. Well, yeah, of course, like the Steam machine is still better because there's more variety games in general compared to like the Nintendo Switch 2, But I'm like, the only thing you would want to buy the Nintendo Switch 2 is just for the exclusives that are on the Nintendo itself. Also, us is using up drinking water too. Yeah, that's also true as well. Hey, Devastator.
Do you think scalpers are still gonna jump all over this thing?
Yeah.
And then I hope they get stuck with it forever.
One thing I would never hope they get stuck with is a sponsor like dbrand. They've done everything to me, from wasting my time.
Yeah, so honestly, it is pretty saddening that it is a pretty expensive thing. But if you have to look at it, you can't just you look at the price in general, right? And then you kind of like measure with all the consoles in general, and then also on top of that, the future consoles that are coming out later down the line, because I know the PS6 and the and the new Xbox are going to come out, you know, anytime soon. In my personal opinion, I suggest wait once they do announce the PS6 and whatever the new Xbox is going to come out, right? The Xbox 2 or something like that, you know? I suggest just wait and see how much the prices are those and the specs. And if you want those specific consoles, go for them. At the end of the day, you want to go get the specific console where your friends are at, okay? Whatever your friends are on, you go play it over there. Like if your friends are on PC, you know, get a PC. If your friends are on PlayStation, just get a PlayStation. Your friends are on Xbox, get an Xbox. Your friends are on Nintendo, get a Nintendo, you know? That's like my personal opinion that I would give somebody. But like if you wanna look at it as longevity of investment, I'd say the Steam machine is more better, just because, you know, being able to upgrade the RAM and the internal storage, not having to pay online, especially $100, over $100 for a year for online or so, is kind of insane because it does add up quite a bit, you know? The sales on Steam are better. The variety of games on Steam is just way 10 times more better. The compact form of this specific console is just way better overall. And like I said, all of the things that he specifically has just laid out or so, the specs wise for it just seems more interesting. Like, I would buy this for a friend who doesn't have a PC. I would buy it for my friend, because my friend wants to have a PC, but like, you know, they don't really have the luxury of like, you know, getting a PC because it's expensive and everything like that, and they don't really know how to build a PC, right? They're like a little bit out of expertise. So I would buy this and then send it to my friend, so that my friend can be able to join us to play on PC. That's basically is what I would do, you know? That's how I would do it. But like I said, I don't know. But overall, that's kind of like basically it. But I know for a fact people are going to buy this thing. They are going to buy this Steam machine 1000%. Like there's no way they're not going to buy this thing. So, but I don't know. We'll see. We will see how this thing is going to be lived up or so. Especially because it's gonna have some software, you know, support and everything like that. So we will see. There's no difference between pre-built and the Steam machine, and the pre-built is cheaper and better with better specs. Yeah, but my friend doesn't know how to build a PC, so he doesn't want to touch the PC. He doesn't want to build it. He's afraid of, you know, fucking up something. He doesn't want to do that. He has zero fucking knowledge on PC shit. So that's why. Pre-build, I don't know. Dude, the guy lives in bum fucking nowhere. Okay, all right. Man lives on a farm, okay? All right? I don't know where he can get himself a pre-build, to be frankly honest, but I digress, like I said, you know? Yeah, and so with the scalpers, they are tackling the scalper issue, so they're doing kind of like a randomized lotto thing. That's what they're trying, that's what they're basically doing with the Steam machine. And it's only one console, one box, you know? Tomorrow, pre-order for GTA 6 will go live. Ball and gun gamers will be... Is it actually going... Is pre-order actually going live tomorrow? But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And honestly, like for me personally, I wouldn't buy this. Whoever has like a PC, like an actual PC itself, or who is planning to build one, or who is planning to buy a pre-built, it's just better to get those instead. But this is just specifically, you know, those... like my friend specifically, who doesn't know anything about computers, doesn't know about pre-builds, don't know what to look at, doesn't know anything, like literally knows fucking nothing. Like he's a farmer. He's a fucking farmer. He lives on the farmland, okay? He knows jack shit all, okay? All right? He just only buys like the thing itself and then plug and play. That's about it. That's specifically targeting to those type of people, okay? And there are some of those people like that, you know? Unfortunately, there are people who are like that, you know? He works on a farm, he works hard, you know, he doesn't have time to learn how to fucking build a computer, look up shit, and you know whatnot, and etc. etc. That's just how he is in general. Okay, so I would buy this for him, and then send it over to him. That's just me being a friend of mine to give him this, so he can have something at least, so he can play with us. You know, like I wouldn't expect him to like start playing like ridiculous games and everything like that, but be able to play games with us in general without any issues, it's the greatest thing in the entire world, you know? So, like I said, it's different for different people at the end of the day, but that's like from my personal experience. But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And let me know what you guys think about the Steam Machine overall. And peace.